Following 9 months of tense final negotiations, Britain and the European Union have at last hammered out a post-Brexit trade deal. The agreement will ensure that Britain and the 27-nation bloc can continue trading goods without tariffs or quotas after the UK leaves the EU on New Year's Day. And it paints a clearer picture of Britain's future, 4.5 years after its residents voted to exit the bloc.
We've taken back control of our laws and our destiny.
In London today, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson celebrated the breakthrough.
We've also today resolved a question that has bedeviled our politics for decades. And it is up to us all together, as a newly and truly independent nation, to realise the immensity of this moment.
The trade deal between Britain and the EU averts a chaotic and costly breakup on New Year's Day, the deadline to complete the separation Brits voted for in 2016. In Brussels, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen marked the moment with relief.
It was a long and winding road, but we have got a good deal to show for it. It is fair, it is a balanced deal, and it is the right and responsible thing to do for both sides.
Negotiators worked through the night with last-minute wrangling over fishing rights in Britain's coastal waters. The deal sets the term for more than $900 billion in trade, free of quotas and tariffs. But it will also mean layers of new bureaucracy, with paperwork and inspections for every item sold across the border. Both sides still need to ratify the deal, and all 27 EU countries will need to sign off. In Germany, the bloc's largest economy, Chancellor Angela Merkel said a decision would come quickly. And French President Emmanuel Macron tweeted that, quote, European unity and firmness have paid off. If approved, today's agreement will end the years-long divorce, disentangling economies still dependent on each other. For more on the breakthrough between the United Kingdom and the European Union, we turn to Robin Niblett, the director of the British think tank Chatham House. Robin Niblett, welcome back to the News Hour. We should say many people have tried and failed to reach a deal. What was it about right now? How were they able to get this across the finish line?
They were able to get it across the finish line because they had to by the 31st of December. Otherwise, the UK would have dropped out of the market arrangements that it had kept since it left the EU a year ago, and we would have had chaos at the borders, which would have been bad for the UK, but bad also for the rest of the European Union and the many countries that rely on the UK market. The UK, in a way, becomes one of the EU's biggest trading partners outside the single market. So they had to get the deal done, which is why most analysts reckon that some compromises will be made, and we get there.
Deadline is a powerful force indeed, but what does this mean now in practical terms for citizens of the EU, for British citizens, everyday life there? What does this deal mean?
Look, for most British citizens, it will make no difference whatsoever. They won't notice anything. The part of the world in the UK that will be affected by this will be business, and in particular those businesses that export to the European Union, to continental Europe. That includes in particular the car business, for example. 75% of UK car exports go to the EU, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, fisheries. For these folks, you will have lots more border restrictions. Even with this new deal, even with zero tariffs, zero quotas, you'll have all sorts of standards and regulations that will not be automatically accepted. So exporters will feel some pain, and consumers may feel a little bit of the impact of the price. I think the other part is anyone taking a holiday, going to Spain, you're now going to have you're going to be on a visa waiver, and you'll have to worry about health insurance, all sorts of things like that. And obviously, if you want to work in the EU, well, you can't do it anymore as a Brit. You can't go over there and look for a job as EU citizens can come and do in the UK up until now. All of that is over. So, you won't feel it day to day, but it'll be a different relationship.
So this still needs to be ratified by both the European Parliament, by the British Parliament. I have to ask because history is what it is. Is there any chance this falls apart?
I don't think so. The British Parliament, went through the agony of being unable to come to any alternative other than Brexit, despite, in essence, taking over control from the Theresa May government over a year ago. They failed. Even the new Labour Party is desperate to get this deal done and get it out of the way and stop banging on about Europe. And in the EU itself, they've got bigger fish to fry. They've got to worry about the COVID crisis. They've got to worry about Russia. They've got to think about a new relationship with the Biden administration. They do not want Brexit hanging over into 2021. So I am 98% confident this deal will get done by both sides.
98%. We will take that, indeed. Robin Niblett of the British think tank Chatham House. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.